when you're working on old trucks, there's going to be issues. A couple of the issues I've had with this project going in was first, considering the amount of rust there was on the parts truck, there's got to be rust on the cab somewhere. You know, we did our best to inspect the rockers, get up underneath as much as we could. Didn't see anything glaring, but throughout the disassembly process, as you know, you're probably getting tired of hearing, no rust. And sure enough, now that the cab is completely free of the chassis and on a rotisserie, there doesn't seem to be any rust. There's some flaking, some surface stuff and spots. Overall, the cab's in excellent condition. The other big issue that I was having was, can you put a small block where a big block used to be? And you know, we did some measurements between the two engines, and surprisingly, there's not that big of a difference. I think the small block is a half an inch shorter, and maybe a tiny bit smaller, 1/8 of an inch side to side. So we're going to have to do some modification on the engine mounts, and I'm not quite sure about the transmission mount either.
Yeah, the right-hand motor mount is, it looks like it can be unbolted from the frame, which is good. The left side mount is riveted and bolted, and normally this wouldn't be an issue, but the rivets are kind of hidden behind the cross member. You have to go up underneath and grind them off, try and drive them out. It's just a lot of work.
Times two.
Times two, yeah. And so the mount itself appears to be the same dimension. We thought that it's just the slot that's in a different location for the 302. It seems to be about half an inch further forward and about 1/8 of an inch higher. So for us, the easiest way to approach this was just cut the mounting surface off the 302 mount, bring it over to the 400 mount that's on Shorty's frame, and we'll just place it on the mounting area and just adjust it to where we need it and just weld it in. After that, it's just a matter of taking a die grinder and just opening up that slot a little further, so it's in the area that we need.
I think so, and we'll test fit everything.
Yeah.
We'll mock it all up. So we'll just tack that plate in to begin with. As Ed said, we'll grind out the hole. We'll test fit everything, and then if it all works out, then we'll burn her in permanent like.
Yeah.
So that sounds like the path of least resistance, and I like the path of least resistance.
Me too.
Yeah. The other thing is the motor. We'll do the same thing we did with Shorty's engine, the 400, before we pulled it from the chassis, and of course we didn't film this, was that we bumped it over and did a compression test. Now on that engine, the compression was good. It was around 135 pounds plus minus, but it was fairly consistent between the cylinders, and 140 to 150 is excellent. 130 to 140 is very good. And so that's a good motor, I think, we have out of the Shorty. Now, the 302 in the parts truck, before we took the truck apart, we got it to run, and it ran smooth. No knocking, no ticking, no blue smoke. So those are all positives. Yeah. Now we'll do another test. We'll do the same thing. We'll do the compression test on the 302, see where that comes out, and just one extra layer to determine overall engine health.
Yeah. So with that said, let's tackle another powertrain removal.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting the parts truck dismantled. All the sheet metal is off now, and we're starting to pull the last of the powertrain out. And what we always like to do if we're planning on reusing an engine is doing a compression test while it's still ideally in the frame. Starter still hooked up. Actually, the ground is still hooked up, and we have a lead going to the starter. So basically, now's the time. And it'll give us an idea of the overall health of this motor. We did have it running before we tore the truck apart. It actually ran fairly smooth, and it wasn't, spewing out a bunch of oil. It wasn't burning at all, so we could tell. So now we'll do a compression test, and it'll give us an idea as to where this engine is at. And this is just part of the preliminary investigation. Once the compression test is done, we'll still pull the heads and we'll pull the pan, and we'll inspect the bearings and the cylinder walls. But let's start with the compression test. So I have the tester hooked up to the first cylinder, a very simple device. Again, you can buy these things cheap at Harbor Freight or Princess Auto. And then we call it bump the motor with some power and get to turn over enough that we can get a reading. And we almost welded the positive cable. And our reading here is, about 110 pounds. Maybe 105 pounds, I would say. So a little on the low side. So we'll do a couple more and try and get an overall idea of where we're at. Now, when you look trying to interpret compression on an engine, 140, 150 psi for most engines is really good, like almost like a new motor. 130, 140 in there, 125 to 140 is good. Get below 120 and the engine might be having some issues. Could be valve train related, doesn't necessarily mean it's worn out, but it could be compression with the rings. But normally you see oil burning that goes along with that, and we don't have any of that happening right now that we know of. So let's spin the second one. And the spark plugs are out while we're testing. Allow the engine to spin over and give us as much compression as we can. And here we're at 110. So another thing we look for when we do a compression test, how close the cylinders are to one another, compression-wise. You don't want to see a wide variance. Up to 10 pounds difference is usually acceptable. But if you have one at 130 and then one at 100, well, that could be a sign of something else that's going on. Okay, so this is our third check now. And here we are at 100. So we're getting a little bit lower. So we'll do one more, and then I'll bring you back when we get our overall findings. It's always better if it runs and gets up to temperature. Sometimes the rings need to seat back in again. I mean, there could be lots of reasons. Who knows, if we drove this for a while, maybe the compression would start to come up again. It's hard to say. It wouldn't come up like dramatically, but it might get up to maybe 115 or 120. So let's see what happens here. All right, so here we have another 100. So I'll get you back when we get the other side done.
Okay, we've got the drive line ready to come out. The transmission transfer case are out already, of course. And we've got it set up under the gantry, and we're going to start lifting. Here we go.
Probably high enough.
Yeah, it's high enough. We'll just make sure there's nothing still connected or snagging, and then we can roll the frame out.
Well, crap. It looks like we got low compression on the 302. The good news is the rest of the powertrain came out fairly smooth.
Yeah, now as far as the low compression, it could be something as simple as the valves aren't seating properly anymore. The good news is the compression was fairly consistent across all the cylinders.
Yeah, there's an expression back in the day that when grandma's car started to run a bit rough, you needed to take her out down the highway and, you know what, blow the carbon out of it. And that might well be the case here.
Yeah, that's right. The carbon buildup on the valves prevent it from seating. The combustion gases that can escape the cylinder, resulting in the low compression. We'll have a better idea once we pull the heads off and look inside. But first, we need to swap the axles from the parts truck into Shorty's frame.
Yeah, sounds rusty and crusty.
Yep.